Well, nothing's changed here at Churchill Downs since the last time we saw you here at DRF.com with the DRF Clocker Report. Still cold, still kind of damp, and actually today it was rainy here Friday morning. Steady drizzle all morning long. The track held up remarkably well early in the morning. I think that we were calling it fast, actually. Might have downgraded a little to good after the second break, and then it was sealed, actually downgraded to good after the first renovation break and sealed after the second break. But most of the Breeders' Cup stuff happened early in the morning and then late in the morning when the turf course, despite all the rain, was opened up for 4 turf workers, but we'll get to those later. The early morning activity, several of the Breeders' Cup Classic contenders were out this morning and had some serious business. Now, mind your biscuits, trainer Chad Summers said his major work was done after that excellent work last week. He planned a 2-minute lick'em this morning, and that's the way things kind of started out. He broke off at the 7/8 pole at a 2-minute lick, but he really started to pick up the pace just on his own. It was an open gallop that turned in almost to a work. Actually, the clockers gave him 5 furlongs in 103 and change. That's because I had his last 5/8 in 103 flat. He actually galloped 2-minute lick the mile. That means you go to a mile in 2 minutes. He went a mile in 146. Looked excellent. He's really thrived since he's gotten here. Mind your biscuits couldn't really be doing any better coming into the Classic. Shortly after Mind Your Biscuits, Thunder Snow went out for a real 7/8 mile work. He went 7 furlongs in 26 and 4. The final quarter in 24 and 2, but he was under a steady drive from the top of the stretch to the wire. The rider was shoving on him all the way. 24 and 2, not horrible after a 7/8 work, but the track was a little bit quick this morning too from the rain. So I thought it was just an okay work. He galloped out a mile in 141 and 4. Seeking the Soul, who's a pretty good workhorse, went a half mile in 47.3, came home at 24, gallop out just okay, 101. Probably more like a maintenance move for him, and I believe his status for the Classic still a little bit up in the air at this time. Also for the Classic, later in the morning, Toast of New York, who just kind of almost open galloped a few days ago, a half in 53, did the same thing today, just eased into cruising speed a little bit. Finally around the 3/8 pole, came home with his final half mile, 3/8 of a mile in 40 seconds, 26 and change for the final quarter. I don't even know if he got an official work. I'm not sure if their plans are to give him a real work over the next couple of days, or this is the way they're going to bring him into the race if he goes in the Classic. Also very early this morning, about 30 seconds after the track opened, around 5:25, Whitmore in company, 4 furlongs in 46 and 1. Went the opening quarter in 22 and 2. He was really flying. Whitmore is a good workhorse, but I'm not sure that he shows shown the kind of speed he's shown here this morning. And I didn't see the work last week, but from what I see on his tab, also went real fast last week. This is his home track. He loves it here. He's doing very well coming into the sprint. And the one work I really was impressed with this morning was Mr. Money, who's going to run in the juvenile for Brett Calhoun. 5 furlongs in 59 and 4, shaded 24 for the final quarter, and it was the gallop out that really caught my eye. He just kept going and going, went 12 and 3 for 6 furlongs, double up in 125 and 4, heading into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile off his maiden win. This horse may be one to keep an eye on at a price in the juvenile. That was it for the main track today, but on the turf course, I was a little surprised with the rain. I wasn't sure they were going to open up the turf course today. It definitely was on the yielding, boggy side, but we did have 4 workers out there. The first were a Wesley Ward team, Chelsea Cloisters, who's stuck in second gear right now, been second in his last 3 starts, her last 3 starts, and Shang, who hasn't started since winning the North Fork Stakes over in England. They went 4 furlongs. Chelsea Cloisters actually broke a length and a half behind and finished 2 in front. Was definitely the best of this team. 50 and 3, not bad over the boggy ground, but not much on the gallop out for either of these two. Next came Jeremiah Engelhardt's 40 under, who's prepping for the juvenile turf. He's coming off a win over yielding ground in the Pilgrim, and he loved the yielding ground here today too. I thought he was the best of the 4 turf workers I saw. not on the clock, 52 seconds for a half, but the way he finished and galloped out, 23-3 for the final quarter, going easily. Galloped out in 1:05-1, the best of the gallop outs. A good move for 40 under, and he'll love it here if this track or this turf course remains on the softer side come next Friday for the opening round of the two-day Breeders' Cup card. The last of the workers today was Paquette for Todd Pletcher. Most of the Todd contingent is in New York. He's got one in Florida, but Paquette is here. Went a half mile in 51-1, finished in 24, galloped out okay, and she's eyeing the juvenile fillies. Now, we haven't been with you since last Sunday, so just catching up a little bit during the week. A couple of one for sure classic horse to report, and probably the best work all week leading up today was Yoshida on Monday for trainer Bill Mott. Yoshida was given a target and did what he had to do. He caught the target, drew off impressively, and also another huge gallop out. I love to see that here, especially at Churchill Downs, but on any track you see those big gallop outs, high energy level leading into a big race. Usually a good sign. 5/8 for Yoshida in 1 minute and 3/5. Final quarter in 23-1, like I said, with that huge gallop out. Yesterday we had a few works moved up because of the potential for bad weather today. Bravazzo, who actually we thought would work earlier in the week, went yesterday on the clock fast, 59-4, but not the way you want to see it. He tried to get out a little bit coming into the stretch. The rider actually had to whack him once pretty good with a right-hand stick to keep him from bearing out too far into the stretch. Then he got him back down to the rail, and he kind of coasted in, but did get tired the latter part of the work after going pretty quick early. And the same for Wanda Godot. She was really ranked starting out yesterday. She was flying away from the half-mile pole, 22 and change, and then kind of coasted in at the end. On the clock, very good, 47 flat, but you don't want to see that a week out from a race when they're that ranked early. I think she's done that before, if memory serves. Not all the time, but we're only a week out from the race. So, but a 47 flat, it might have been the bullet work here yesterday for Wanda Godot. We have plenty of action scheduled over the weekend, at least a half a dozen works each of the next couple of mornings. Most of the horses still are out of town. A lot of workers in New York today, a lot on the West Coast. They're all going to complete their work out of town and then ship in. But plenty of good action here coming up Saturday and Sunday. So keep it right here. We're going to be back with you on a daily basis from here on in throughout the next 5 or 6 days leading up to Breeders' Cup 2018 right here on DRF.com.